So this entire segment, we've been talking about things that we could do better. Now let's drill down into some of the things that we are doing and that we think we're doing well, but maybe we are, maybe we're not. So I welcome your feedback on this. We've mentioned a couple times the CS Listserv. You know, whenever we first established this initiative, I felt like that there was not a common place for our teachers to get together and share ideas. And you know, being that this is a computer science initiative, I'm a very big believer in digital communication. I value face-to-face communication, but sometimes it's just quicker, it's more efficient, and you can reach a greater number of people in digital format. And while there are many social media channels out there, by the way, feel free to follow me on Twitter. You know, as far as the state goes, we wanted to have a common system, and we felt that a listserv that was open to communication of the members. We don't restrict membership. Basically, my rules are don't cause problems and you can be a member, right? So it is an active listserv, a lot of traffic, some days more so than not. But the thing I like about the listserv, and I had this conversation with somebody the other day, is that teachers will actually ask questions over it. Mm-hmm. And there are occasions that I feel like from a policy standpoint that I need to answer those questions. But for the most part, if I'm not answering those questions, it's not that I haven't seen them. It's that I'm wanting other teachers to step up and answer those questions for those individuals. Now, occasionally there are just things that are policy driven and I need to be the one that provides the first response, or one of my team members. But lots of times, you know, Karma, I want teachers out there in the field, or administrators out there in the field, Dr. Gocher, or counselors that have encountered these issues and overcome them to answer it. And that's the thing about it, it's not just CS teachers. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of counselors. We have a lot of superintendents and principals on there, and anyone is invited. So I hope that you are finding that useful. Karma, you mentioned it earlier.
Yes.
What are your thoughts as a classroom teacher? Are you finding the support structure that you need?
Absolutely, and it's full of all the good information, and it's not an overload like some listservs that you can get on. And I know that several people in our district have gotten on the computer science listserv and find it very useful as well. And I would encourage more K-8 teachers to get on there as the embedded standards start, you know, building up through the grade levels, so that they can talk to other teachers and find out how they're doing things.
We're at approximately 2,000 members that have signed up for that listserv.
Wow.
I would really like to get to the point, and that's amazing considering, you know, how many teachers we have certified in CS. That's almost 10 times the amount of teachers that we have certified in CS. So it's amazing that that's the amount of interest that is taking part. And believe it or not, a lot of people from outside the state of Arkansas are members, because they want to know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because we don't like to say that they steal in education, but hey, I steal ideas all the time and just improve upon them. So we're glad to continue providing that resource. I hope it grows to the point that we have to maybe look at breaking it up, maybe a K-8 listserv versus a high school listserv, so and then a general. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Mentioned this earlier, the link to our professional development. We like to keep a page of just those listings that that our CS specialists are providing around the state. Everything in every co-op. Everything from our Harvard CS 50 PD to our lead teacher program PD to our high school K-8, just anything we're providing, which once again is at no cost to teachers. We keep a listing on the link you see on your page.
I will say too, kind of just because as you were mentioning the listserv, after I attended some of the professional development opportunities, your computer science specialists have been excellent at continuing to follow up. A couple of them have set up like a Google Classroom platform where they have continued to push out opportunities, resources, engage teachers who were there in that professional development session with some ongoing support that's a little bit more job embedded as follow-up. So I found that really valuable also.
Great. So the reoccurring question that sometimes I kind of cringe a little bit when I get is, can we get money for XYZ program? Or we have this robotics club we're wanting to fund or start, and do you have money for that? Right now, the answer is we're not providing any state grants for individual programs at school level. We're looking at the opportunity, an opportunity for what we're discussing or going to call an innovation grant. Should be some information coming out on that at some point. But at a state level, we're not providing any direct school grants. But that's not to say there are not opportunities out there. And whenever I get that question, I point principals, teachers, superintendents to this website. This is actually one of the most comprehensive list of STEM-related education grants that I've ever found. They update it weekly. They always keep a listing of, you know, when the grants open, how close you are to closing of the grants, things of that nature. And if you're looking for a grant and it's a STEM-related subject, you're probably going to be able to find one week to week that will fit your needs on this list. So, and these are national level grants, so not a lot of hunting for that. I will say also on grants, I have found in this position that corporations and partners, if they see a strategic reason, they will say yes. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that strategic reason is just supporting their local community. And so don't be, you know, as I talk to superintendents and encourage them to expand these programs, don't be beyond, don't think that you can't go ask your local community. I know sometimes that's a hard discussion. My office is there to support that. We've helped schools find grants through their local communities to grow up their CS computer science programs. You know, I'll provide some guidance on how to do that. You know, through our nonprofit, we've been able to raise approximately, well, about $500,000 in additional support and monetary support for our state CS initiative through that nonprofit. But through all the asks that our state has made to outside organizations, we've been able out of our office to garner about $4 to $5 million additional support beyond the state dollars. Companies want to support this because they see the benefit for them in the long term. So I encourage you that if you're seeing funding as a roadblock, look at this site, call my office. I may not be able to provide a direct grant to you, but we'll try to help you figure out something. Any feedback from a superintendent perspective on that, Dr. Gocher?
No, I have to admit I have not perused that resource, and I think that's a powerful piece, especially with the different regions in our state. There might be grants that are specific to those kind of regions, and so I would encourage the superintendents to take a look at that and work with your computer science team at your own school and to explore those, because if they're out there, it's our own fault for not exploring them. So.
And Greg, you came from a position prior to this one. You probably don't have to worry about this so much now, though. You may. I know I know you have one school that's actually we've been working with of trying to find them a grant for a program. But your previous position in the STEM Center, y'all were predominantly grant funded.
Correct. Yeah.
And so you know, any best practices on this that you can provide to school leaders as they move forward?
Documentation, always. You know, just you know, and really, I think coming back to what we've said many times throughout this conversation in terms of telling the story, you know, what is already happening that we're really seeing valuable results from that we really want to take to scale. That's one of the things that we find in our district that we're at now. We have pockets of really amazing opportunities happening sprinkled all over the place. Exactly. And we want to expand that access to more of our students. I think that speaks to a lot of those folks who want to get behind amazing things that they already see in progress. Not necessarily always something brand new that we're trying to launch, but where have we already kind of got our feet wet and we're seeing some great results with students, and we want to see this go more to scale.
And Karma, as a classroom teacher, you know, I know I taught in a classroom, and I took that $250 tax deduction every year, and it never covered what I spent on my own classroom.
Right.
You know, what obviously we don't want to fund out of state dollars, you know, a one-time grant that buys technology that is no longer usable in 5 years with no plan to repurpose that or to replenish that or you know, update that. But what do you see as the greatest need for a computer science teacher out there in maybe a district that's not as well supported as yours? What can we be thinking about at a state level, or what are your needs? I'll just simply say it that way.
Well, I find with my kids, they don't want to just do programming for weeks on end. They don't want to just do robots for weeks on end. So just some funding such that a teacher could have access to different either online curriculum, or I'm not exactly sure, but just so that the kids have a diverse choice in the class. And of course, I'm thinking about my semester classes that I teach, so it could be different for the K-8 programs or the coding block, but that's just what I find for my semester-long classes. Just the kids want to, they want to get in touch with all those different things that you can do.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's a great point, and I want to circle back around to something that we discussed last time with diversity, and it completely slipped my mind to mention this, and I can't believe it because it is such a powerful tool that Arkansas is providing, but it falls under support structures, so I feel okay with mentioning it now. And that is that we are providing, for last year and this year, and for the foreseeable future, we're continuing to provide access for our middle school students to the Learning Blade curriculum.
Yes.
And that is very powerful for those students who may not understand what STEM jobs are or STEM opportunities are beyond just computer science. And that's a resource that our state is putting significant money behind. I can share, I hope this doesn't get me in trouble, but the home state that came out of was Tennessee. Arkansas was not first to the table in this, but we now are blowing every other state out of the water in school usage. So if your school is not tapping into Learning Blade at those middle school levels, I invite you to contact APSRC. Trent Saraceni is their main trainer there, the Arkansas Public School Resource Center, and connect with them about how your school can utilize that resource that Arkansas is paying for your students to have access to. So any of y'all schools use that,
Yes, we
Karma?
do.
What are you seeing with it?
Our 8th graders use that and the career class, and I've seen some of the, I think there's a couple of computer science lessons. I've asked the kids to open up their accounts and show them to me. They're really, really good.
Good. So
Yeah.
hopefully just another piece. We're not going to solve the diversity issue with one thing. It's got to be a 3-part at least, right, Dr. Gocher? But that's another portion of things that we can do, that we can implement. And we've mentioned them over and over again, and I just want to draw attention to our CS specialist, and we have Jiggish that's hosted in the Northwest Co-op, Jim, who is at Arch Ford, Denise Gregory, who is kind of a hybrid, I call her a hybrid specialist. She always kind of rolls her eyes at that, but during the school year she's supporting our ASMSA model, but then during the summer she's supporting the teacher professional development. Leslie Savell, who is in Southwest, Kelly Griffin, who is in Southeast, Tammy Glass, who is at Dawson and Arkadelphia, and Zachary, who is in Northeast, Zachary Spink. Though they're in, as I said earlier, though they're in those specific co-ops, they are statewide specialists. They have travel dollars. I want schools to make them spend those travel dollars, okay? So I want co-ops. They have a charge that they have to present in every co-op at least once every 2 years, which honestly none of them are having a problem meeting that requirement. In addition, we write these grants in unique ways. Every one of my CS specialists have a requirement that are part of their measurables, that they have to find 10 non-certified teachers every school year and help them become certified in CS. Now that's 10 specific that they take under their wing. That's not just providing that week-long training. That's that they're working with them individually, helping them go through flashcards, And so if you're struggling to pass that CS praxis, contact my office, contact one of these specialists, and say, hey, Anthony said I'm one of your 10 people. So, and if we need to expand the number to beyond 10, we will, because if you need help passing that praxis, we want to help you. Here's our contact information. It's also available on our website, but that we'll link to in the session materials. And then obviously my contact information. I don't put my phone number up here because I'm hardly ever available to answer my phone. Email is a great way to contact me. I try to clean my email box out very quickly. One, I hate seeing that red number on my phone. But two, I also know that that is how I've told people I'm going to respond. So you may get an email at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, but that's me cleaning out my email box because I hate seeing those out there. So, but feel free to contact me, and suggestions, questions. I will say go look at the fact sheet if you have a question, because the answer is probably there. I thank all three of y'all and appreciate your time. I know extremely busy schedules, and getting y'all a day out of school and classes is problematic and sometimes, but I appreciate y'all taking this time, and I appreciate the participants joining us for this presentation. I think Mr. Wartenberger said it very well, in that he hopes that this continues a dialogue after the point. And as you participate in this and you watch this, if there are questions that come up, I hope that you will send those to our office. And if we come back and we realize we missed something, it may be that I invite y'all back for a follow-up conversation down the road, and we may add an additional segment to it. But if nothing else, at least I can provide you an answer to that question. And I want you to know that I appreciate the work that y'all do. This initiative, we've talked a lot about what the state is doing and what the state can do better, but I wholeheartedly believe and know, as a person who's not too far out of the classroom, that no educational initiative can be successful unless the educators and the educational leaders out in the districts and the schools buy into it, and they also enforce it or accept it or implement it in a way with validity. So I appreciate the work that each of y'all do, and I hope that I can continue supporting y'all as y'all go forward and make CS for all.